This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
This season marks a new beginning. Witness the raw power, iconic sound, and pure speed from the historic Lotus 79. Experience the competition and glory days of early 80s open-wheel action. Watch as drivers wrestle these ground effects cars into submission. Drivers will face off wheel to wheel. For some, it's a chance at redemption. For others, an opportunity to make a statement. All sharing the same goal, to be crowned champion. Who will be victorious tonight? The Lionheart Retro Series presented by Butt Kicker starts now.
Competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart. Presented by Butt Kicker. The third edition of the Lionheart Retro Series kicks off from Homestead-Miami Speedway. It was 2,063 years ago tomorrow. The assassination of Julius Caesar changed the course of this afternoon. On the eve of this Ides of March, 43 men with their own visions of grandeur turn their blades towards their ruler, only to find a shadow. Last season's Caesar, Adam Blocker, has not returned to defend his crown. In Blocker's absence, jealous eyes turn toward this season's Mark Anthony, Alex Saunders, who was denied last season's throne by a single point. Will Saunders rise to power or fall drunk and poisoned in the arms of his Cleopatra? As always, team politics will play a major role, but when it comes to getting to the checkered flag first, many a loser will ask his teammate, "Es-tu brute?" So, let the campaign begin. It's time for the Sam Maxwell Custom Miami 200. And you can see all the simulated Lotus 79 retro racing action from green flag to victory donuts live as it happens right here on the Global Sim Racing channel via the iRacing Esports Network. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sim Experience Countdown to Green. Over the next 15 minutes, GSRC will bring you all the storylines, all the stats and facts you'll need to appreciate the Sam Maxwell Customs Miami 200 that will immediately follow as we count down to green. And here to do all of that is yours truly, Bill Subzon, joined way up in the press box to bring you our Word's Eye view by Brian Yazik. Jed Yaman has director duties, armed with cameras locked and loaded by Dougie Beard. 1,005 palm trees of 15 different varieties adorn the Homestead-Miami Speedway, and that sadly is the kind of track info this commentator has to offer. Fortunately, sitting next to me is a man with more practical knowledge of this afternoon's venue, Brian Yazik. You got anything more significant to add than my palm tree stats?
You know, Soup, when I saw you right before green going out there counting the palm trees, I thought that's what you were doing, but I just wasn't 100% sure. But now that I know that's what was going on. This is the Homestead-Miami Speedway. It's seen probably more facelifts than a Hollywood celebrity, just on the fringe edge of their relevancy. Started out life as basically a model to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, then it got reconfigured into a flatter oval, and then it got reconfigured into this configuration, which the top, it was really kind of one of the first 1.5 ovals to get that progressive banking, as they like to say. So you see there on the track guide right in front of you, 18 to 20 degrees. The very bottom is 18 degrees. The very top is 20. The reason for that is obviously the bottom lane in any kind of racing is the fastest way to go, but the top lane having more banking ideally can provide more speed and more comfort to these drivers here on the show tonight. And I believe we have a lap guide, yes? Yes, we do. So let's go to that. We're going to show you kind of what we're talking about as a quick way to get around here. And so, yeah, take it away. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Global Sim Racing Channel. I'm Brian Yazek, taking you for a spin around the Homestead-Miami Speedway in the GSRC Lotus 79. Here we go, starting off of pit road, because at Homestead, you do have to use the entry lane and the exit lane for all of your pit road procedures. Getting up to speed there, there's no real banking, so especially in these Lotuses, you're going to have to breathe the throttle just a little bit, but then it just lets you really step on that loud pedal and grab up through the gears and let that old engine scream. Here we go, getting her wound up for the money lap, if you will, bringing it high, bringing your momentum around the track, off of turn 4, down the front stretch, and away we go on our lap. Down here into turn 1, going to bring it just about as far down to the bottom as you can, maybe not all the way down, depending on the setup, but you're definitely going to want to hug the white line there, coming off of the corner, down the back stretch, setting up your entry into turn 3. You're going to be bringing it in a little wider. Maybe breathe the throttle just a little bit to let the nose set, because these cars don't have the downforce that you're accustomed to in a lot of other high downforce vehicles. Down the front stretch we go. Now, as this race moves around, you can see guys all over the Speedway. Homestead is a very fun track as a driver, gives you a lot of options. You could be all the way up there in that second groove. You could be up by the wall. You could be all the way down at the bottom. You're going to see guys all over this track today. Same here into turn 3 and 4. You can really let it float here through the top and really kind of use that top lane to more so defend against someone trying to get a run on you. These cars do create a massive draft behind them that leaves a big wake, so it's really going to be easy to suck up. So if you can get a little bit of a good run, you can really make some moves as the race progresses. Now, we talked about how we had to come off of pit road. Here's how we have to come onto pit road. Start calling them off, signaling them back, bring it down here, and then stomp on the brakes, get it down into probably second or third gear, depending on how brave you want to feel. Once again, no flat banking, and here's where this pit road is very, very tricky. As you try to get it wound up, hit the brakes, a big wiggle, get her stopped down, slow down, avoid the barrels, and you're on pit road. And this has been our track guide around the Homestead-Miami Speedway. I'm Brian Yazek. Enjoy the show. So there you saw my lap earlier. So what you just witnessed was the audio version of a self alley-oop, where I sent it to myself to do the lap guide, and now I'm sending it back to myself here to kind of go into more of the countdown to green. Brought to you by Sim Experience, makers of the AccuForce Pro V2 Complete, the premier professional racing simulation steering wheel system. The key to AccuForce's Pro incredible realism is the groundbreaking direct drive motor control system, providing a driving experience that, when combined with today's best racing simulators like what you're watching right now, is as close to driving the real thing as you're going to get. For more information on the entire Sim Experience ecosystem, including the Sim Vibe software, 3DOF, Stage Series Motion, and GS5 G4 Seat, visit simexperience.com. And hey, guess what, Soup? We got a promo code.
What is it?
SimXLion. Get you 5% off Sim Vibe software. So that would be, we don't have a number 5 driver tonight. That would have been a perfect tie-in, and we don't have a number 5.
It would have been, but somebody's going to finish fifth. Hey,
Exactly.
consider the Firmir Pricks setup racing league for the Lotus 79 on the iRacing service. The Lionheart Retro Series honors the memory of the late Dan Weldon. Now, GSRC is always picking up new viewers, so with those unfamiliar with this series, let's throw it back to Brian. He's going to tell us about the details.
Yeah, and here we are. This is the Lotus 79. Season 3 of the Retro Series, round 1 of 18, 2 drops. That's what you get, the teardrops there at the end. It is adjusted fixed setup. It's a very, very group effort to make all the systems go and all the wheels turn in the right direction here. Cash and prizes totaling $7,610.
Ooh, baby.
those series details right up there. You see there up in the top corner. Brought to you by Minus 273, the premier name in karting gloves. For more information on Minus 273's full range of gloves and apparel, visit minus273.biz. Hey, we got a promo code here too. LHRS for 25%. Yes, 25% off of all of your orders.
Okay, I'm counting. That's if you remember all of that, you're up to 30% now for all their stuff you can get.
Heck yeah.
Hey, practice is done. Qualifying is starting up, and like every race, weather's going to play a factor, so maybe we can bring that up, and we'll let Brian, who's familiar with these cars, give an idea of maybe what that's going to feel like for these guys. Uh-oh, I can see right now 107 degrees Fahrenheit. That seems hot.
That's a hot track, Soup. You know, especially with the skinnier front tires on the Lotus 79 versus the massive rear tires, they really don't like that. They don't like to grip, period. Driving these things around a road course is fun. It's kind of like wrestling a bear that's just about as angry with you as it can possibly get. There you see Ryan Otis. He's got a on screen there. He's got a way around this machine around these tracks with that Lotus 79. It's pretty marvelous to watch. But those big old rear tires, it's going to make it go.
A lot of new names here this season. The rookie championship is going to be impressive, and a lot of those rookies are going to be challenging for the overall championship as well. We ride on board with Mark Cohn.
It's that SamMaxwellCustoms.com camera there. Yeah, Mark Cohn he got a couple starts last year towards the tail end of the season, and now he's back for a full effort this year. Really, the Retro Series roster got a very big makeover in the off season. I mean, we've got, what, 20-something rookies, I think, in the series for Season 3, which is amazing. So you're going to see a lot of names that you might recognize, and you might see names that you might not recognize. There you see Mark Cohn going top of the board right now. James Paulson, I believe he was there last year as well. I remember. Come on, find me someone new, Amjad.
Remember, when we use the word rookie, it only refers to them being a rookie here in this series. A lot of these drivers have a lot of experience.
Yeah, like there's going to be a name that's probably going to pop up here in this session. Lionel Callisto. You know, fans of the GSRC universe might recognize that name and associate him with the term rookie. There's another one that you see right there, George Sandman. Not a rookie by any stretch of the imagination, but he's the near guy around here.
He is indeed, but he's been on GSRC many a time and always puts on a good show. There's the Candyman, Dustin Wardlow, out there in his familiar Dewars candy machine.
Yeah, Dustin coming back for another strong effort. The thing with Dustin, I just love looking at his cars because the amount of detail that man puts into just designing half of a scheme is astounding. So as you look through it, you always seem to find more details and more details. Hey, there's a name you recognize, Soup. We kind of did a role swap here.
He was just next to me last night, and now he's down there, and you were on the track, and now you're up here with me.
Exactly. Now, I finished 6th last night, so let's see if he can one-up me, and kind of go that way.
Thank goodness there's not a third televised series, or I'd have to race in that one.
Man, we would have to get you out there. They see Nathan Lewis on track, Frank Beeser, Firefly Racing entry, currently sitting 10th on the board right now.
So what do they get, Brian? Is it 2 laps is your guess? Is that how that works for qualifying? They're allowed
2 laps. The ultimate, unique thing with the with this machine, as you go through the universe in iRacing, you find that maybe you want tires all the time and you want different things that you need to do. Well, this car's a little backwards. So there you see, there's a name that a lot of people should recognize, Sage Karam, Quinta Sandsport, SimSport. Machine. The tires don't seem to wear too bad on the Lotus machine. So the trick to look at as pit stops happen, see if the car actually goes up or see if it stays on the ground and just takes on fuel. That's what's going to be the trick to see as we move on here throughout the evening.
Yeah, Alexander's last season was even to the point where even if you could take tires, he wouldn't because he felt the car was even slower on fresh rubber than on old rubber. So, yeah, these are from several decades ago when tires were made for men. Sage Karam up on top.
That's a lap.
Honestly, though, if there's a place where qualifying doesn't maybe matter as much, you got plenty of time to get to the front. Not like anyone's going to run away from you here. Is qualifying done? I think it just about is. So with that in mind, why don't we go to our starting grid? Brian, we'll have time to do it a row at a time here since they're going to take a pace lap around.
Yeah.
On the pole, it's going to be Sage Karam. He's going to be flanked by Mark Cohn. Who you got?
Alex Saunders there in the third position, a name very familiar to viewers of this series last season. JP Winchittle in P4.
Then a name known to many people of sim racing platforms all around, Darren Ganji, going to be sitting inside of row 3, flanked by, he's fast, Ryan Otis.
Series founder George Anzaldo in position 7, with Chris Lanini with a very strong qualifying effort there in position 8.
Number 9 goes to Paul Jenkins. He's going to be inside of David Plymore.
In the 11th position, Frank Beeser with Robert Bluen to his outside.
In the Baker's dozen spot, it's James Paulson. In 14th position, Dustin Wardlow.
P15 going to Taft Baldwin with Travis Jaegerliner to his outside.
The next row is populated by Dylan McKenna and Nathan Lewis.
There we got Eric Mickey Yuso Fine there in P19 and Ken Hacker in 20th just to his outside.
Oh, I like it. Hidden Blackjack is Cody Eldred. He's going to be inside of Joe Hazard, who's in the double duck spot.
George Enter Sandman there, 23rd. Watch for him to make a run through the field with Finian Ducana in 24th.
Mike Rigney in the quarter century mark. In 26th is Tyson Landis.
27th, Justin Kirby, another new name to the Lionheart universe as well, with Ryan Corns to his outside in 28th.
David Altman behind him, Stefan Schlocker in 30th.
31st, Mitchell Moeller, Eric Block in 32nd.
33rd is Scott Holmes and Joshua Gaiman back there in 34th.
I'll take the bottom 3 here. 35th to Adam Young. He's going for the hard charger. He qualifies for it because I know your contingency point. You got to take the time. So he took the time. So he'll be there. Chad Dalton, 36, and starting shotgun on the field, Dean Mardi Gras Mall.
We have onboard cameras. Let's take a quick look at George Anzaldo and the Butt Kicker onboard camera, bringing more realism and immersion to your session, thebuttkicker.com. Mark Cohn in the number 39. He's in the Sam Maxwell Customs. Precision and craftsmanship, enduring the highest quality of sim racing wheels and accessories. And then finally, Mike Rigby in the 80th, in the number 80, in the Track Racer, designed high-end gaming accessories for over a decade. All right, we got all the business out of the way. It's time to go racing.
And now the fun part.
You can hear those engines start to roar. Competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart. Sage Karam leads the Stampede down into the first corner.
There you see the field very quickly falling in line. You got 2x2 back there, right around the 8th spot with Chris Lanini. Let's see how that settles out here. He's still going to be on the outside. He's got David Clymer down to the inside. You're going to see that bottom lane potentially go. That's going to be the preferred lane early. What's going to be very interesting to watch is as the sun moves and as the rubber gets laid down is how people are going to move all over this Homestead-Miami Speedway. Look at all those machines thundering down the front stretch with Sage Karam leading lap 1.
He gets credit for leading lap 1. We've seen him drive away with it. I don't think that's going to be the case here today, but we'll follow out and see how that goes. Very clean so far.
Now, just behind him, you got Mark Cullen up there under attack from JP Winchittle. Winchittle onto the bottom, but here comes Cullen. He's got the run to the top, and more importantly, he's got the draft. Look at that car, machine ahead. Here comes Saunders back to the outside.
Bottom line might be the shortest, but the top line might be the fastest. Cohn gets second.
Saunders slipping in the line there. Everybody's playing nice with each other so far. You got first battle right there, the Candyman Dustin Wardlow with Robert Bluen to his outside. Dustin trying to sneak away, but he just can't quite get clear just yet. Here comes Bluen with a run back to the outside. You
can see them take some different racing lines as they race up front there. Not sure if they're looking for clean air or just whichever works for them. We've talked about the front half of your top 10. Let's talk about your back half. Sixth position is Darren Ganji having a good run. George Anzaldo behind him. Chris Lanini, last two drivers in the top 10. Paul Jenkins and Frank Beezer have an impressive run back in 10th.
Beezer just took that 10th position away from David Clymer, who now is going to be looking to battle back and get back in there into the top 10 on the track.
Meanwhile, up in front, Karam being under attack from Mark Cohn, and look at this guy trying to sneak in on the top side. When Chittle making a move up there, cannot get it done. They race in order.
Sage really took that aggressive line down to the bottom and got a good head of steam because he timed it just right. That kind of stalled the run on Cone just a little bit, but then allowed JP to catch up on the backside, which is then going to drag Alex Saunders back up into this. So it's racing in these cars around this track. It's like a big accordion or a rubber band. They'll stretch out and then they'll all come right back together.
Cone has been devoted to racing up on the top line. You see him doing it one more time. It's fast, but you leave the door open for somebody to sneak underneath you.
And I think Cone has the right idea. He's trying to work that in now. Better to figure out what's going to work now versus trying to figure it out later on in the race. But he's really up there, and a lot of other guys are kind of up there. So that part of the track is going to rubber in, and more importantly, that part of the track is going to heat up as well. So you could watch as they shift around from the top to the bottom to the bottom to the top and everything in between.
So how far are we racing today, and what are the stats? Let's take a look at that right now. Our race analysis comes up, sponsored by Plasma Tracks. We're going 133 laps. We expect a stint to be about 48 before they have to stop for fuel. And there you can see the incidents and penalties down there. You get up to 20, and you're DQ'd.
If you get up to 20 in one of these cars, I think your night's fun. Here comes Colin back for the lead. Bottom in turn 3. Side by side with Sage, but Sage is going to get the run back off of the top.
Now, if these were normal tires, I would say, is there a consequence? Is there from running that low line? But these tires are so hard and they last so long. But they got to heat up a little bit, though, right?
Actually, these tires are a little bit masochistic in the sense they like to be run hard and kind of abused a little bit. But then there is a cliff on the far other side. So what you might see, guys run this thing until about the halfway-ish pit stop, take tires once, and then be done with it.
Very well behaved as we work lap number 10.
Yeah, everybody's just falling right in line. I mean, first battle, here comes Chris Lanini looking on the bottom for the 7th position. Or actually, no, he had 7th, and Darren Ganji's going to take it by force.
In 6th position.
I'm sorry, I got that backwards. George Anzaldo.
That's Anzaldo. I was going to help you out there.
I was looking at the right thing and had it on the wrong thing. You know how it goes.
Oh, trust me, I've been there. Anzaldo in 6th. Chris Lipolini back there in 7th. I'm watching the whole thing from the popcorn position. Darren Ganji in 8th. Down 3 spots from his 5th place qualifying.
Got a side-by-side battle. Clymer and Candyman again. But this now they're back for one more spot with Frank Beezer hanging on to that. Ooh!
Clymer and Wardlow almost got together. They knew how wide their cars were.
Yeah,
that's going to cost a lot of momentum to Clymer. I think he's going to lose that spot.
He might, because he gets back into the corner. He might be able to fight it back up from the top side right here. Ooh, Paulson shutting the door, and Clymer he got a foot in the door right before it was closed.
I don't know if Paulson's racing an iRacing, one of those standard paint schemes, or if that's something he came up with. I love it. They're nice red, white, and blue.
Beautiful. It's got an old school feel to it. Kind of very. I'm trying to think.
I don't know if I can say this on the iRacing Esports Network, but I feel like you want to throw a Domino's pizza logo on there.
It kind of looks like. Who's driving that AMC for Penske? That paint scheme, way back in the day.
Are you thinking Donnie Allison? You're not going that far back, are you?
Might be Donahue.
Chris Matador, yeah.
Okay. Chris. Oh yeah, well Donahue and Bobby Allison, both. Yeah. Oh. Going back up front, Sage Karam is under fire again.
Here he
This
comes.
time, Cone has it. Cone's going to get the lead at the line, so give that man a bonus point. You get bonus points in this series for leading a lap, for having a clean 0x finish, no incidents. You also get a bonus point for leading the most laps. So right now, Mark Cone, as we look on from the Sam Maxwell Customs on board, he's staring at that back fender. He might not be as aggressive now. He got his bonus point. Now what Sage is working on is going to try and lead all the laps. Get all those bonus points you can.
We talked about it in last night's broadcast. There almost should be an award for, they should measure leading by feet, because last night a driver would lead across the start-finish line, get passed on the back straight, then get him back again. There were 2 or 3 passes for the lead each lap.
Yeah, I was around some of those, including, unfortunately, the one that put a little bit of a delay on my night.
Let's give a tip of the hat to these Retro 79 drivers. They're a little more behaved than what we saw in the Lionheart series. These guys are putting in the miles here.
That car's a little slower. I'll blame that. There's just everybody's staying really nice in line around the top. Let's see him jumping back here, top 10. First battle is talked about it a lot. It's Poulsen versus Clymer, and then that settles right out as soon as we point it out. These drivers have a way of doing that.
And the car leading both of those two is Ken Hacker. Now he's our hard charger, starting in 20th. He has up. Would that be 8 spots? I can do the math.
Would be. Yeah, he would be the hard charger. I'm trying to look on the other side to see maybe who might be sliding back. And I would probably put that right now on Dylan McKenna. Started 17th and right now running 27th.
Just feeling it out a bit.
Yeah, no pressure. You still got some time to go. There you see Dylan. That's a very paint scheme. I don't know how to describe that. That's a paint scheme, all right.
Okay, now, Brian, do you think, I can see right now that this field is much more spread out than we saw last night. Yep. Do you think that the Lotus 79 is less draft dependent than the Dallara IR18 that we saw?
Absolutely. I mean, the Dallara, you can just get these massive runs, getting a run off of the corners and down the front stretch. Because the car is making so much horsepower, these Lotus 79s, as powerful and as aggressive sounding as they are, they, especially on an oval, they're running pretty much right at the top end of what they can do. So you really have to be a lot more deliberate in setting up your moves and your passes.
Yeah, I foolishly talked to, as we ride on board right now with Chris Lanini and 7th. You can see way up there, I talked about Karam and Cone not be able to run away with it, but I'm maybe starting to think that they might have a chance at it. They've opened up about 10 car lengths back to Windschittle back there.
Yeah, I mean, from a lap time standpoint, they're not necessarily in a class by themselves. I mean, Karam ran a 28.61, and then Mark Cone ran a 28.59, and then behind him was actually a 56 from JP. So it's that rubber band effect that I was kind of talking about earlier, where these guys are spread out and they'll kind of come back together. Sage is doing a wonderful job in these machines, considering these cars, technically from the naming standpoint, he's under fire from Mark again. Technically, he's, plus a lot of the audience, is probably younger than those vehicles ever were.
Yeah, that's a good point. Give a tip of the hat to Mark Cone, man. He is putting on a performance.
He's like a dog just ravaging onto the back end there, and he's hanging on to it. He's going to get through there in turn 4, going low to try to stop the draft. But the problem is, there you see that Sage is getting that run back on the top side, because you try and pull away and you try and break that force a little bit. But the problem is the guy in the top just kind of flows through the corner and flows through the run. He's able to keep the momentum going.
If I remember right, Mark Cone picked up the nickname, get this settled out here, boys, as they are Cialis bathtubs into 3. Picked up the nickname The Watchman for his extensive watch collection that he has.
Yeah. He actually sent me one of those fancy watches.
Really?
Too. Yeah, as a little gift. He sent me a button box, and he sent me one of those watches, because there's a side deal that we were working on that kind of fell apart, and he felt bad. So it was a compensation prize, but it was a pretty solid watch.
Don't worry, I sent him my Casio to add to his collection. So it all out even in the end.
Did it have the calculator?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. So those two race 1-2. Winchell in third. Alex Saunders, we talked about him. He missed the championship by a single point last time.
Yeah, that's the heartbreaking way to do it. The thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. There's no, 1 point at any point else in the season would have changed that whole game. And I believe he's running part-time this year, so because I think towards the middle part of the year, his schedule is going to get messed up. Now, that was the last time I talked to him, so I don't know if things have changed since then. But, show up, put on a good show, and see what happens.
You saw on that stationary camera, they're single file up front. They're a little more aggressive in the back. Let's go back to 15th position and talk about these guys. Robert Bluen leads this pack here. Eric Mickey is in 16th. Then it gets real close. Jägerliner back there, Baldwin, Lewis. These guys are really fighting it out. Look at them scramble for a racing line.
Yeah, look at up there, Baldwin in that riding shotgun motorsports machine. That if you were a fan of the Pack Majors or the Majors series, that scheme, that team name, that should all start ringing very familiar bells for you. And so you see these guys kind of branching around a little bit. But you saw he kind of got up, got a run, and then the run stalled out, and now he's under attack from Nathan Lewis and Big Joe Hassert back there as well.
Boy, I'm loving some of these new paint schemes.
Woo, that was an aggressive maneuver. Finian making that move. Finian, another new name here in that Sim TV machine. I saw them poking their heads around in the chat, so shout out to those guys.
Dives under, I believe, his teammate there of Joe Hassert, equally. Cars that are similarly painted, different colors there.
Yeah, I see that now. Took him getting right next to each other for me to sort it out, but I saw it now.
It's a bit of a Scottish kilt look to it there. Finian DeCuna. Now, there's a name we know. It's surprised to see him back there in 20th, but he's got a reputation that precedes him into this one. Good racing. Very clean racing so far as I knock on this imitation wood here. Let's jump back to 25th and look at this brightly colored citrus-flavored car of David Altman, working on the back of Mike Rigney.
Every time we say Mike Rigney, I want to say Eleanor Rigby, and now my brain is just lost.
Keep the space in a jar by the door, baby.
Yeah. And I think if we called Mike Eleanor, he would stop talking to us. So I don't think we can do that. You see, looking back on Mike's the rear bumper or the rear spoiler back there from our track racer onboard camera, getting a report that the 50 machine maybe scraped the wall. From our pit reporter, Chris Fabi.
Yeah, guys, just following along here. Looks like the 50 of Cody Eldred seems no worse for wear, but he may have almost just done it again. Just kissed the wall going down the back straight, and looks like he may have done it going into the turn there a little bit as well. So something to keep an eye on to see if that maybe affects his handling or setup throughout the remainder of the.
Car's going to take a little bit of abuse, but not a lot. I mean, I wouldn't be trying to scrape it down the wall to try and knock some aerodynamics into it.
We've got Chris down at pit lane today, and I think the action's going to pick up for him pretty soon as we're working lap 33.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Let's go to 6. This is Ryan Otis making a move on the low side. He's going to get this position. He moves up into the top 5.
Yeah, he's been working JP for the last little bit. Otis is a very, very skilled driver in these Lotus 79 machines. Not surprised that he's just kind of riding right now and just seeing how the race unfolds before he really sets in and starts to go on the aggressive maneuver. But then look at JP back under attack from Chris Lanini in that 92 machine.
On the top side. Now, is it an advantage to be behind Otis and get a draft, or you get caught in the wash for Lanini up there, Brian?
This car isn't as bad, but it's still not as it can handle a little bit. Sometimes, you get that Indy car and it's a little bit more aero sensitive than these, because these cars are, they got a little bit more ground force than their newer counterparts. So they can handle a little bit. It's still not perfect by any stretch of the imagination.
Cone side by side with Karam right now. Karam with the momentum. This is a battle for the lead. They're going to be side by side going into 3. Cone in the blue car. Karam in the, I'm going to trade colors here, white, gray, and orange. How'd I do?
It works for me.
2 out of 3? All right.
Sage kind of figuring out where that limit is. He's just hanging right on the rear bumper. Not the rear bumper, the right rear tire of Mark, and then he's going to get a run, and then they get back into the corner. It about evens out. So these guys have been running side by side. Who's loving that? That's Alex Saunders back there in that Nighthawk machine. He's just going, come on, guys, keep going side by side. I got all day, because then Saunders is going to bring George Anzaldo, who's up to the 4th position, back up into put it out! Caution is out! It's the 61.
Oh, it's Joshua Gaiman. Was it ghost contact, or no, he just lost it. He just plain lost it.
Oh, wow,
I think Tyson Landis might have got a piece of this going by.
Hang on, it was a death wiggle. It got in there, and the car snapped just a little loose, and then he caught it, and then it snapped again, and then once it caught again, it went straight nose first into the wall. You're going to see it right here on this replay. Watch the hands. The car is going to go in there. It's going to slide just a little bit. Catches it. Catches. Death wiggle. Wall.
The old phrase is lock it up and crank it left, but boy, you want to catch the thing, don't you?
Yeah, it's the racer mentality. You go, I can save it, and then, yeah.
Ready to go on board with my booth partner here, Adam Young. He had a good view of it. He was late to the scene.
It's good being late to the scene. At least he didn't arrive at the scene of the crash.
Yeah. The riding shotgun gets through cleanly.
Back live, here we go for pit stops. Looks like it's about to be a feast down pit road as everybody pits except for Chris Lanini.
Chris will be in. He's sleepy. Talking about Chris, let's go down to Chris and our pit reporter. They're coming in. Sage Karam out in front. Let's see if he gets out front when it's time to leave.
Well, and this is what I was talking about earlier. Watch the cars. If the jack goes up, they're changing tires. If they just stay in spot like Sage, right now looks like he's going to take tires. Mark Cohn, notice that car did not take tires. Saunders is staying on the ground. Now you're going to see that's going to cost, because here goes Cohn. There goes Saunders. Oh, no, Sage. That could be part of it, too.
Karam stalled it, apparently.
Because these cars now, the iRacing in the season 2 2019 build gave the ability, if you really want the full experience, the car could stall on you in the pits. So if you don't get the gearing right, if you don't bring the revs up and drop the clutch just right, it will it'll stall.
I like it. And here we are. You could hear it as you could listen to it right there. All right, we talked about. Go ahead.
And from the driver's standpoint, it's so infuriating, because you go, "Oh, I want this to be really cool," and then you look, then that happens. You're like, "I don't want this anymore."
Talked about bonus points. Chris Lanini picks up a bonus point for leading the lap as he stayed out.
Yeah, and brought Adam Young back with him as well. He and Adam Young both stayed out.
Going to be a steep price to pay for Lanini, though, as he will be at the back of the pack.
I wouldn't want to be back there. Lights are out on the pace car. You got, front of the top end of the order's changed just a little bit. We got Mark Cohn out front, Alexander second, George Anzaldo third, JP Winchittle in fourth. Fifth is Ryan Otis.
As they work down the back straight, I'll get this plug in real quick. Remember, we want to talk a little bit about Sam Maxwell Customs. For nearly a decade, Sam Maxwell Customs have taken pride in customizing racing wheels for sims and racing enthusiasts. Each order is built with precision and craftsmanship, ensuring the highest quality in sim racing wheels and accessories. The steering wheel is the primary interface for for the drivers in the sim racing environment. You wouldn't want the best, would you? Well, if you do, you want to go to Custom Sim Racing. Get yours today. SamMaxwellCustoms.com. Got that plug in just in time. Gather up the chicken steak, covering on the cows. We're going racing again, and it is Mark Cohn leading them down into the first corner. Alex Saunders behind him.
He got a great restart. Saunders trying to play catch-up, but now Saunders is going to be under fire from George Anzaldo. Because now here comes Saunders. Got a good run, trying to take it up to the top side.
Saunders might be thinking, I got the pace. We got Sage Karen buried back there behind a few cars. Maybe I can get out front here and see if I can leave that real-world IndyCar driver behind. They go too wide down into one.
Sometimes you just got to get out there and strut your stuff. He's going to hang into the side of Mark Cohn, side by side for the lead off of turn 2, down the backstretch. Running by all the palm trees right now. Give that advantage to Alex Saunders.
Side by side is not going to allow them to pull away. Back for 5th position. It is Winchettle and Karam in a battle as well. They're going nowhere.
Karam going to be trying to get back into it after that disastrous pit stop, in all honesty. Slides back up the track, and now JP is going to try and get back to the run to the inside, but he's just going to dive right back in. Look who's going for the lead. It's George Anzaldo.
Took it in deep into corner number 4. Not sure if he's going to have the momentum to lead at the finish line, and he does not. It is Alex Saunders. Look at the run now back there for Mark Cohn. Nowhere to put the cars. He takes it high, wide, and handsome.
Mark Cohn
run here out of 2, though.
Yeah, he got that run out of 4, though, and it was like a dog chasing a car. Once he got there, he didn't quite know what to do with it.
They come up there. It is too wide. Cohn thinking about maybe making a 3 wide, but it's way too early to be doing that. The always formidable Ryan Otis watching on from 4th position. It's about a half a second back to Karam now in 5th.
Yeah, Karam, after getting by JP, is starting to gap that just a little bit. Now remember, Karam is one of the first guys on fresh tires, so that could be a factor in the decision here as this race progresses. And I think as we're looking on board from the Sam Maxwell Customs Sam Maxwell Customs on board, and Mark Cohn, he's getting a great bird's eye view, but really if you spin that camera around, you're going to see that 95 white and red paint scheme of Ryan Otis just diving down to the inside. Oh, look at that. I'm Jed. There it is. A very iconic paint scheme in the racing world Otis is using there.
Makes you want to light one up if you were so inclined. Hey, can we go back to 8th position real quick just to get a little love to Ken Hacker? Up 12 spots racing back. Oh, my goodness. And that was a JP Winchettle, boy. He almost got in the wall ahead of Dustin Wardlow. These guys battled for 7th position.
And then
Winchettle, Wardlow, and Hacker.
Yeah, Hacker getting a good run to the bottom there, trying to take advantage of Wardlow staying in behind JP. Everybody just kind of filters out. The good lane there is running it up to the top there off of turn 4. Here comes Wardlow side by side going into the corner. He should clear it. Oh, put it out again. Oh, it's on the front stretch. Big one.
I think it starts with Dean Mole. Mardi Gras.
Oh, not Mardi Gras.
Yep.
Oh. Oh, Mardi Gras ran out of beads.
He got together with Stefan Slocker. Mole ended up in the wall, and then he came down in front of everybody.
Yeah, there might be a decent onboard here. Go, maybe Lenini. Who's that green car that went flashing by? Eric Block. He had to make a very reactionary maneuver. Oh, wow, that is...
Now, what is it? If we stay on this, we're looking at Block. Mole is on the top, holding it on the wall for a long time, and then it comes off.
That, it does. He comes off, and that all stemmed back. Who was in front of him at the time? was Jagerliner. Jagerliner checked up, which caused Schlocker to check up, which caused him to run up the track in the mole. See, why we watch this domino effect. Bang, bang, bang.
And now he just couldn't keep it on the wall, and it comes down in front of a few more.
Yep, gets a couple more in there. Split decision on pit road. Number of guys peeling off. This is this is the fun part with the Lotus 79. These guys pitting are going to be heavier on fuel because these cars have massive fuel tanks. They're going to be heavier on fuel, so they're going to be slower on the first part of this run. But eventually, these front leaders are going to have to pit, and they're going to be heavy on fuel, whereas the cars that have pitted now of Ganji and Mickey, Lanini, Blue, and Corns, and Sandman, these guys are going to be light on fuel at the end of the run, which is kind of where you want to be. Or the other flip side to it, these guys might be trying to hit a window right here.
Pit stop. Everything go cleanly down there, Chris. You were in pit lane and it looked pretty good for those guys. Oops, we've lost our pit reporter. Must be making a pit stop himself. Well, so when that goes on, let's talk about what we have up front. We got Saunders and Alzondo and Cone, Otis. Karam, boy, Karam was about 7th, I think, when we started last time. He was only able to pick up a couple spots.
Yeah, didn't get too much. He got forward enough. He got his way through there.
So what we're going to do right now is take a short break, but we'll be back before we go green.
The SimPit is an entertainment channel dedicated to the world of simulated motorsports. The SimPit is a leader in providing the sim racing community with news, reviews, interviews, DIY pieces, and instructional videos to make sim racing a better experience for all. Check us out at thesimpit.com or go to YouTube and just search for the SimPit.
Welcome back to the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage here on the iRacing Esports Network of the Lionheart Retro Series, the opening round here from Homestead-Miami Speedway. We're going green, working lap number 54. It is Alex Saunders, your leader. George Anzaldo, Mark Cohn behind him, right as Otis and Sage Karam.
Tell you what, on that restart, Otis had to throw a huge block to get to keep Sage behind him going down into turn 1. Sage got a really good restart and was able to sniff up on the backside of Otis, but then had to throw a massive block to keep that door closed. But then here we are, 3 cars underneath a blanket for the lead. Saunders, Cone, and Anzaldo.
we have a race within a race because a little farther back, there was a large group of cars that decided to come in and make a pit stop. They'll have about 15 laps extra in fuel. It's Chris Lanini and Darren Ganji are leading that group. We'll keep an eye on them. We expect them to be the leaders of this race in about, I'd say about 30 laps from now. But they're only going to lead it for about 15. But they'll have to start them for a little while. Up front, look at this.
There's a lot going on here. They've got different ways that they're planning out their race. These guys up front, all they know is they see on the relatives or whatever screen that they're looking at, they're watching their car numbers jump between 1, 2, and 3, and they all want to be number 1. No one wants to be 2 and 3.
The names up front have all been pretty much the same. Saunders, Cohn, and Zaldo. These guys have been up inside the top 10 the whole time. Otis.
Yeah.
Karen had his issue on pit lane, fell back a little bit. He's up here. Wardlow now making his presence.
Yeah, Wardlow's following up the track with Sage Karam, bringing both of them into the equation. Seems like JP Winchittle doesn't seem to really get going. Once he gets rolling, he's fine. But that first couple laps off of a restart, that machine struggles just a little bit.
2 by 2 up front. Couple other names I just want to mention. In 9th position, Paul Jenkins making a good run, and Taft Baldwin up from 15th into 10th.
And then just behind him, Finian Dacuna, 24th starting spot up to 11.
Be interesting to see if these guys can get up there, the names we just mentioned. They can get up and race with the leaders if they have the pace to stay with them.
Yeah, and very aggressive, almost like a side draft maneuver that Saunders pulled on Cohn coming back up. That stalled Cohn's run big time, and what that did, that let George Ansaldo get a massive run, and George getting right to the lead, not quite clear enough. Here comes Saunders back to the outside.
They're going to be dead even coming in. Ansaldo on the low side in the blue car, Saunders up top in the dark blue car, which makes sense for Nighthawk Racing. Look at the momentum from the top. Saunders is going to get credited with leading that lap.
And we'll see in 74 laps time how we've been watching these guys race, how that affects that. George and Alex get very close together off of the corner.
Once again, there's a good run from Mark Cohn, but again, he will not go 3 wide. He checks up a little bit.
All right, we mentioned this earlier. If we want to jump back, the back there for the P9 spot was starting to heat up pretty good. They got 3 wide coming off the corner with Big Joe on the bottom, JP in the middle, and James Paulson right looking back. Finian riding that top lane, dusting that off. We almost call it, the NASCAR side, I think we call that the Kyle Larson groove, about 2 inches off of the fence. Look at that run, sweeping down onto his teammate.
As exciting as the action is up front, it is really exciting back here. And my gut tells me that there's going to be a problem. That's where it is. Whoa! A little rhinoplasty practiced by Finian Dacuna. He chops the nose off of Joe Hazard, going from low to high. Woo.
Yeah, that wasn't. That one might cause some friction in the team huddle next week.
They get it settled down a little bit, boy, but for about a lap and a half, it was Katie Barbador.
Oh, big problems into turn 3. Big wreck at about that spot. There's 3-4 cars collected into it. Put it out.
Dalton, I think, is involved in this. No, I think it's Dylan McKenna. Cody Eldred.
I just caught us. I was just about to start talking about these guys, and then they all piled into each other.
That's Justin Kirby on the top side that's got his nose in there into the back of it. Looks like
it's like a bump draft that went wrong, but
yeah, he's got his nose cone into the left rear of Eldred, and that turned him around.
It happened so fast. That got JP, that got McKenna. Got a few, a couple guys, everybody getting woed down in time too.
Now this is going to be interesting. Chris down in pit lane, I'm not sure who's going to come down this time. They were just in there, and then there were the guys who topped off. I think you might see some guys topping off.
Yep. It's looking like from what I can see immediately, but Chris has got the better eye on.
Well, definitely you're seeing some of the drivers involved in the incident hitting pit road immediately, and it's definitely going to be a strategy play here as well with that caution. Following up the last one so quickly, you had your guys that stayed out last time. This could be their opportunity to sit in the catbird seat as you have your front runners that may be thinking this may be the time to make a move.
Well, Brian, here you go. And you're no stranger to alternate pit strategy, but the guys up in front have a 24-lap stint. I mean, that's well into it.
Yeah.
Yes, these guys are going to be well at the back, but they're going to have a long run without having to deal with the fast.
Yeah, correct. And the other part, like I said, we're guys like Chris Lanini, Darren Ganji, George Sandman. What these guys are banking on is they're going to try and run those last, the 15 or so laps that they have, or the 11 or 12 laps that they have as an advantage. They are going to be absolutely flying. The Lotus 79 with low fuel is a monster to drive. It can rip off some amazing lap times. It can even run faster by itself than it can with two cars with full fuel drafting each other. So what these guys are banking on is that 10 laps that they're going to be on their own, they're going to try and make up all of that gap, and then once it cycles back around, they should have gained spots without really even having to battle or lift a finger.
Now, I don't know if I have permission to go there. Is Adam Young, was he just mentioning that he's under yellow and he was willing to talk to us during a yellow flag? Is he still racing? Oh, he's done. Okay. Let's bring in Adam and
let's talk to him. Oh,
Adam
and
Young.
Stefan.
Oh, Stefan, too. They're all here. Not a good representation of GSRC's driving ability. Okay, Adam.
Don't worry. I'll carry the flag. Don't worry. We can put it on my broad shoulders from last night.
Real quickly, Stefan, were you caught up in that big one?
Yeah, I was in the last caution. A bit disappointed there. I don't know what Travis ahead was doing. Suddenly, all of a sudden, in the middle of the turn, lifted or the brake. I had to slam the brake to avoid him, and then Dean climbed my car. Really disappointed because, yeah, this GSRC car just perfect. Bit understeer in the turns, but I made it work. And yeah, I was better on fuel and tires than everyone around me, and I was betting on that. Just that my debut in this series ended like that.
Yeah, well. Learning curve, baby. You got to pay your dues. Hey, Adam, Brian and I were talking about a little different animal than what we saw last night in the Dallara IR18. These cars don't pull up and draft as well as the Dallaras do.
No, they don't. It's almost the reverse. I mean, the IR18, it got tight as the run went along, where this car loosens up and comes alive as the car runs along. I mean, I was talking with Taft a few minutes ago, sitting up there running P8 right now. He's really happy with how things are going, but I'm not happy with how things are going on my end. I mean, I'm just glad, I don't know if you guys caught it, but I ended up hitting Chris on pit road there, and I'm just glad his car is still straight. Mine, however, even though it was really light contact, is not. I'm done for the night.
Yeah, GSRC. Yeah, that's why the commentators should not race. It's embarrassing. All right. All right, boys. Good luck down the road. Definitely.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys, and hey, good luck the rest of the way for you guys, too.
All righty.
I don't know how high I'll finish, but I know I will finish. I can say that much. So, from the commentators. Adam Young, Stefan Slocker. I'll be working with Stefan in a few days here as we're covering the batteries not included. We'll be covering another open wheel event. It'll be the Williams. Oh, boy, that's fun. All right, they're coming around. Time to go green. About a 25-lap difference between these cars and the cars that topped off. All right, we're going green for the fourth time, working lap number 67. It is Alexander Cone and Zaldo Caravan Otis. All the familiar names up front. There are, all you little guys in Soup's clipboard army, mark this down. These are the drivers that are on the second strategy. Chris Lanini, Landis, Ganji, and George Sandman. They did not come in this time. Go ahead.
No, very, very quick update. Just heard over the race control side of things, the 43 machine of Kirby is going to have to be serving a drive-through penalty for avoidable contact on that previous caution.
Oh, that's too bad. Justin Kirby's sitting right now racing in 25th and was the leaders of all the cars that topped off. So I was going to mention Kirby as a guy to watch. Eldred Bluen also in that mix as well. Eric Mickey. These are all names that I think you're going to see eventually at the top of the charts, but only for a brief time.
It's that gamble. I mean, the way that you got to play it out. I mean, right now, Chris Lanini is 4.5 seconds back off of the lead. I guarantee once this all cycles up, he's in P19. He'll probably sniff it around the top 10 once it's all said and done. But remember, those guys that pitted about, it's going to be 20 laps ago now versus the guys that pitted 31 laps ago. The guys that pitted 31 laps ago are potentially staring at 2 more stops, whereas the guys that pitted previously are only staring down 1 more stop. So if this race runs long enough, I think, guys like Lanini and Ganji are going to be in the power position. Tell you what, though, these guys up front, they're not thinking about that right now.
Tip of the hat to Justin Kirby, who served his penalty without incident. Back out, lost a lap. Boy, look, we right on board up front. The car down low, that's Mark Cohn, the watchman. Alex Saunders up top, the Nighthawk driver. Watching from the popcorn position, George Anzalda, and boy, he's got a front row seat. Gonna get a stiff neck. You're too close to the screen, George. Back up a bit. No, George, I thought he was gonna go through the middle.
Oh, these guys are not thinking about it right now. They just want to get up there and get up front. Look at that battle back there for the 4th position. Sage Karam in control of it. Ryan Otis keeping the challenge there. Keep an eye, though, on the Candyman making a run from the top side. Just sneak. Oh, Sage had a moment. Then, and poor Dustin got stuck behind him and had to lift to back out of it. It's a big run for Otis, who's now going to go from 5th or 6th to 4th.
I don't think they touched, but Karam really had to get out of the throttle.
Pedal that one.
Yeah.
Which in these cars is just devastating because, like I said, on these ovals, they're running towards the top end of what they can do. So any blip of the throttle, it's kind of like in plate racing that you see in the Monster Energy Cup Series. You break that throttle and you just lose all of your momentum.
I can hear the Hacker family yelling at me right now. Soup, how about a little love for Ken? Up into 5th, baby. I see ya.
He's just riding right now. That's a charge right there from Ken Hacker.
On the low side now, getting freight trained up on top. That's that dark blue machine of Saunders. Momentum for Cone, he goes by. And I think the white and orange car of Otis is going to get there too. Nope. Yeah, let's see if Otis pushes the issue on the top there.
Here you see him running back, making a run at the lead is going to be Cone again.
Hacker in 5th.
Sage getting back bombarded as he's kind of struggling here, at least in this little bit. He's been under attack now. There you see Taft Baldwin back there in that riding shotguns motorsport machine. He's making a good run too. Started 15th up to the 8th spot. The dive down to the inside. Go 3 wide for that spot. Not just yet, boys. So by some estimates, we probably got, what, 10 to 12, 13 maybe laps worth of fuel?
Yeah, I think that's where we are. We're going to see these guys peel off here pretty soon.
The caution, you're on a 2-for-1 kind of equation on cautions. Every 2 laps of caution, about one a green flag running.
Working lap number 78. Back in 6th position, we haven't talked much about him. The Candyman Dustin Wardlow started in 14th, is up 8 spots. See him working on the outside there. Car on the low side, Ken Hacker.
side by side off of turn 2, just baffling. This is great to watch. I'm glad I'm watching this from up here, not in the car for this one.
Boy, they continue to race close up front, but it's just a matter of time. These guys are on a 40-lap stint now. Yes, some of them have been under yellow. And we're going to be sending them down to Chris Phobie here pretty soon. Chris, you got your drink? You all set up, ready to go when they come down?
I'm just hoping I can remember to press the right button, guys, so you can actually hear me this time. Okay.
Give Alexander credit for leading that lap. So who do we expect to inherit the lead? Well, I think it's going to be Darren Ganji. Can we check back in on him? Racing in 22nd position.
No, it's going to be Chris Lanini. Chris Lanini in the 18th spot of those drivers that pitted. They are the furthest up. Now I'm looking at the laps to go. We got 53 laps to go here. If they can go roughly 50 on fuel, the fuel strategy isn't going to work out the way I thought. There's going to be a flip side to that. These guys that are running up front right now are going to have to take pretty much a full tank of fuel. Whereas you guys, oh, never mind, put it out, caution. See, as soon as I start talking about this, it's the 46 to 28.
Oh, and poor George Sandman gets a piece of this one as he goes by. It starts with a claimer.
Oh, right into the fence, and then, ay.
We're really close to Mike Rigney. They got loose. Not sure if they made contact. He goes in, and poor George Sandman collects him going by. Salmon, yeah. Poor George. He was so late getting there. I don't think he was the only guy to get a piece of this.
Decision time here on pit road.
There's Sandman gets it. And also, Ryan Corns gets it as well. He was so late down there. All right. What's going on pit lane? Uh-oh. Chris, here they come. And it looks like it's going to be, as our leader involved, it's going to be Saunders. Cone stays out.
Yeah, there's going to be some things at play here, but what do you see down there, Chris?
Well, guys, it's getting very busy down here as most of the field pulling down onto pit lane. Looks like we had a couple people staying on track. Right now, it's looking like just standard stops, probably putting some tires on and getting them full of fuel and ready to go to the end of this race.
Brian, I haven't done the math, but I got to figure, oh, they're thinking with 50 to go that they can get to the end from here. That's why everybody has to come in, I guess. I think they're done.
Like I said, these guys are going to be full of fuel to make it to the end. I mean, what did we say in the first part of the show here? About 49, 48 laps?
Yeah, I believe, honestly, when they gave it to me, it said, I think 46 to 48. Amjad, are we able to bring up the race analysis again and get the official numbers that they gave me? There we go. All right.
Yeah, now 48.
Now, honestly, when they gave it to me, it was 46 to 48. So that's the long end of their estimation. That's why I think that you got a driver out there like Taft Baldwin and Mark Cohn. We cannot get there. They're going to stay out there.
They're going to stay out, but then these guys you're going to see are going to be pretty darn fast on low fuel. But the only thing I could think of is if there's someone maybe trying to stretch it, because you're 2 to green right now.
Chris, I'll go to pit lane. I think the winner might come from the guys who are coming in right now. You got a few more guys topping off. They may be able to sneak this one.
Yeah, we've seen this move in the past, guys, with the caution falling right at the beginning of the pit window. You could have a couple guys that dump a little bit of extra fuel in there, and that could make the difference. We've seen guys in the past lose it coming off turn 4, giving it up when the fumes go away. So we have a very interesting last portion of this race coming up with these guys trying to stretch the fuel.
Justin Kirby and Eric Mickey top off.
What's the penalty for for entering a closed pit? Just curious if anybody remembers that one. I mean, okay, so Amjad says EOL, so does Stefan.
And you have to take out the garbage.
If I was to play devil's advocate, I would have pit right there. I would have taken the EOL penalty because I'm going to be at the end of the line anyway. But I know that I probably could have made it on fuel.
There you go. I'll tell you somebody who's playing by the rules, and that's the driver in 6th position. This is Dustin Wardlow. He's our spotlighted driver tonight. He has 35 of these retro starts under his belt, and almost half of them, more than half of them, 19 are top 10s, 13 top 5s. He's got himself a couple wins and a pole. His first start was at Homestead right here back in Season 1. He debuted this series. And his first win, I know you're not looking at this one, Brian, but if you had a choice of track to get your first win, where would you want it?
I mean, me personally, I'd always prefer the Michigan International Speedway as a Michigan boy. I mean, but, you know, in anything else, yeah, I'd want Indy.
Indy, that's where he got his first win. Okay.
That's a great way to do it.
You are so unique. You know, you just can't play by the rules of everybody. You always have to be contrary to what the script says.
I know. Well, you know, that's what I get for closing that away and not paying attention to it.
Richie Hearn back to work with him again. He knows what I'm talking about. All right. Best of luck to Jason Galvin putting up with you for the rest of the season.
We'll be fine.
Okay. Pace car is in. Once again, she bangs it off the wall like she does here every time. Going green, Mark Cohn is your leader for now.
It's got to be getting at the end of that.
Second.
I can't think. Mark probably only has, but 4 or 5, maybe 6 laps of fuel in that thing.
Now, honestly, I don't know what he's hoping for. I would think he's hoping for it to stay green and him to come in and everybody else have to come in, I guess.
I mean, because right now he would be good. So he could either run this thing to, you know, as far back as he wants to. I don't know.
A yellow flag doesn't help him because it moves him to the back, and a green flag makes him have a green flag pit stop. So I don't know. We'll get a little love out here.
This is one of those. Yeah, this is one of those moments. Once again, I'm glad I'm up here not having to think about that.
So the question is, can these guys Saunders and Otis and Anzaldo go the distance? My gut is they're pretty sharp. They know what they're doing.
But, you know, I mean, if you're going to be on it, I mean, these guys, if you're trying to save fuel, you probably wouldn't be in 4th gear. I mean, it's really a very close, like a 1-to-1 gear ratio. So 5th over 4th doesn't save you a lot. Here comes Taft Baldwin with a great run off of turn 4. Side by side with Mark going into turn 1.
He did not get credit for leading that lap. It is still Cone. Won't be long till the watchman comes in.
Yeah, it's got to be soon. I mean, he's pushing 51 laps since he last pitted. And yeah, we've had probably 7 or 8 laps worth of caution in there. He's got to be getting close.
But what this does is it gives us a good benchmark to what the other guys can do. Now remember, this stint had, what, 2 or 3 yellow flags in it since Baldwin and Cone came in. So it's a little misleading. If Saunders has to go green the entire way. Okay, you talked about, elaborate a little more on it. Saving fuel. Changing gears, is that what you were saying? Or doing it with your right foot? How do you do it?
It's probably a little bit of both. I mean, if you're trying to save fuel, you'd probably want to be in 5th gear because it would lug it down a little bit. I mean, 4th to 5th is kind of a 1-to-1 ratio. So that's, you know, it's kind of close. 4th, you can at least keep the momentum going. But if you're in a spot where you're Saunders, you're probably not going to trying to get aggressive on the maneuver. You're just trying to suck up draft right now. So that's what you're seeing Saunders doing. He's probably playing it a little bit more with the right foot, just keeping it just enough to keep it close and try to save that little bit of extra fuel, the precious, precious fuel.
There are 25 cars on the lead lap. And all of them are on the same pit strategy except for Cone and Baldwin. Those cars that we saw come in and top off, Kirby and Mickey, they are a lap down, so they are not really in the mix.
It's just more ripples and more ripples in this race than a bag of chips right now.
Oh, that's good.
I've been working on some of these.
Well, they all can't be wrong. Alex Saunders, they all know what's going on. But again, going around one more time is Cone. Baldwin really trying his best to give me a lap to lead here. Come on.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, because a lot of these cautions, because they had one caution before the first stop, and then all the rest of these cautions have pretty much happened between stops 1 and 2. So, he's at never mind, that was someone else on pit road. I thought it was a leader on pit road.
We were looking while we talked. Go on with your thought, but we're looking at Hacker on the back of Karam right now. This is really, and here's the Candyman. Oh my goodness! Hacker almost gets into him. Hacker down low, and Karam, this is really tight racing. Careful, boys.
Just a gaggle of cars all in one spot. Here comes our leader onto pit road, Mark Cone. So that's 57 laps with about 10 laps of caution. Yeah, there's no way those guys have enough fuel.
All right.
There's absolutely no way. Because with 10 laps of caution, he ran 57 laps. And if we're going 40, 48, yeah.
If you're a riding shotgun fan, that team gets credit with leading a lap. Taft Baldwin, baby. That tank about as empty as a syrup bottle after a pancake social. He's bringing it in right now.
So now that's going to cycle the lead back over to Alex Saunders, Ryan Otis, the names that we've been calling out the entire run. Mark Cone just leaving his pit box right now, the 7-second pit stop. So he probably went a little bit full on fuel, actually, by that time. Because I don't think you needed a full tank from where you're at.
Look at that camera shot there. You can see the front four all well behaved. And then you can see the nonsense starting back there with Hacker and Karam and Wardlow and DeCuna's in the mix.
Oh, no. Commentators curse Taft Baldwin busted for speeding on pit road.
Well, any hopes of stealing one? Look at this. In 5th position, this is Sage Karam going underneath Ken Hacker. Dustin Wardlow in there. Finian DeCuna, we haven't heard much from him. He's in 8th. Joe Hassard back there. And honestly, we may not be talking about the winner. The winner may be back here in 25th. It might be Robert Bluen, the last car on the lead lap, for all we know, saving fuel. And just going to go around and do this without stopping.
Yeah.
I see you, Robert.
Who knows? There's going to be a lot of interesting things. We do know that Mark Cone is good to go on fuel. We know that Taft Baldwin is good to go on fuel. Of the 28 cars still rolling around the track, those are the only 2 cars that we know that can make it on fuel at the current split second.
George Sandman deciding to come in, racing. He was he on the lead lap? He was indeed.
Jumping back over to my thought. Remember, I was talking about if you didn't have to take a full set of fuel, the less fuel that you could have in this car, the better. Mark Cone is running faster lap times than our leaders by about 10.5 each lap. Just to prove that point home.
And that's something that could pay off later for him if indeed everybody else has to make a pit stop, because pretty quick.
Yeah, you got that rocket ship hooked up just right. So now we just got to see how this one unfolds. God, look at that up front.
So Cone, who is a lap down, you may be saying he made what my dad used to say, the early peel, late reveal. He peels off early. He's a lap down. You forget about him, but he's running fast laps when all these other guys have to come in, and we think they do. It may be Mark Cohn at the front, especially since Taft Baldwin had that speeding penalty. He's out of the mix. Cohn has this to himself.
Potentially, but here's the thing that I want to talk about, though. Cohn is on such a it's a bold strategy because if a caution comes out, his race is over.
Yep.
You're not coming back up. I mean, look at Nathan Lewis in P2, started 18th. Exactly. We mentioned him on the start. We mentioned him another time. He has slowly worked his way up there. The New York-based driver running second right now, and he's getting up into a mix with it with Saunders.
Oh, I feel bad that he's stuck in there. I try to make a point of looking for drivers who are comers. He got in there. Nice going from him. A rookie.
And technically, he's the hard charger from 18th to second right now.
Right on the back of the Nighthawk driver, Alex Saunders. Those two dark
here
cars.
Comes Otis. Otis driving it to the bottom. He's going to try and get a 2-for-1 combo. 3 wide in turn 4. Otis on the bottom. Saunders in the middle. And Lewis up top.
Lewis with the momentum gets credit with leading the lap, but he cannot get it down. He's stuck up there. The butt kicker car of Otis was having a good run, but is now the car in the middle. It's Alex Saunders. Look at the run here again from Lewis, but he has nowhere to go. Here comes Hacker down below.
Oh, and look at the Candyman here, Sage Karam. He got a big run off of turn 2. Insert Sage into the battle. And these guys are not thinking about fuel right now as Sage gets a little bit of aero wash. He falls back off of it. Just keep down. Look at Otis. Otis is back up front with Saunders in the mix.
Oh, my goodness. They're dancing the tango in a China shop right now, but so far the porcelain remains on the shelves. Ryan Otis, Alex Saunders, Nathan Lewis. 1, 2, 3. Oh, really high up in the wall. That is Dustin Wardlow, the Candyman. He's got it. He saves it. The profile driver keeps it going. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that could have been a disaster had that car bucked into the wall.
Did he get pushed up there? We don't know, but once he got into the wall, he did a good job of keeping it going straight. It just didn't go.
Kind of flew in there. All right.
So a bittersweet moment for the Candyman. A good save, but it cost him a lot of positions. Ryan Otis, your leader right now. Oh, my goodness, up front. It is intense.
Just, what's that, 10 cars under a blanket right now going for the lead? And look at the back of that pack. I just want to point out that black and white machine. Chris Lanini, he was on that alternative strategy. He went from the front to the back, and now he's clinging on to the back end of the top 10 with Joe Hassert right in front of him and Paul Jenkins up there as well.
Sleepy back there in 10th. The alarm has gone off, and he is wide awake now.
It's just thrilling racing that we're seeing right now at the Homestead Speedway here in the Retro Series.
10-car battle up front. And the guy who probably hates what he's seeing is Cohn, who's hoping this thing goes green. He does not want these guys to get together.
No, we're not even going to say that word. We're not going to say, oh no, Soup, what did you do?
Wasn't me. Oh my goodness, it's the yellow fluorescent car of David Altman.
Oh.
Turns around and catches, just clips Mike Rigney. There's Rigney, and Cohn just clips him going by.
Was Rigney trying to pit and then just missed it? Because he was backwards in a very odd spot. Was it Rigney or was it Altman? Altman,
around.
Here he goes. Okay.
Both those drivers were on the lead lap. See it. So now I guess that means you still don't pit because now these yellow caution laps are enough to get you to the end. Is that how this works? I think so.
It should. Judging by the fact that nobody pitted, I think that they feel like this caution is all they need.
Well, let me tell you something. One of my favorite songs is Radar Love, and the opening line is, been driving all night, hands wet on the wheel. They obviously did not know about minus 273. Their industry-leading gloves are super lightweight and durable, made of breathable polyester spandex. Whether you're a kart or sim racer, minus 273 gives you control to reach victory lane. For more information on minus 273, and if they would like to contact me and tell them the significance of minus 273, I'd like to know. Here's how you get in touch with them. Give them a shout out at, where would it be? It would be minus 273.biz, B-I-Z. Hey, you want to find out about their apparel. That's some good stuff. Don't forget also to use their promo code. Everybody has a promo code, LHRS, to get 25% off your order.
That's a great way to do it.
I want a promo code.
Promo code SOUP.
That's it. 25% less of me. Which is just certainly a deal.
Well, I was going to say, you know, we can use promo code SOUP at, you know, one of those Learn to Speak English websites, but I don't know if that quite might work out. Rosetta Stone, there it is.
There you
Use
go.
Promo code SOUP at Rosetta Stone.
21 laps of racing to go. I think we're gonna be 20 here to go.
Yeah, once we get
maybe,
this,
yeah.
we're gonna restart with 19. So I mean, as we're sitting here, Soup, with this towards the end of it, all jokes aside, who's got your attention here towards the end of this run?
Well, it was Mark Cohn, but that yellow flag killed any chances he had. He's the leader of all the cars one lap down. I like the guy that I don't know about, the guy that snuck up on us, the guy that I said, hey, who are you? And I like Nathan Lewis, number 17, out there in third. He was able to sneak up on me. Maybe he'll be able to sneak up on Ryan Otis and Alex Saunders.
Could be interesting.
Now, my heart, if I was voting with my heart, it would go to George Anzaldo, the series organizer, because you always got to hope the series organizers get to win.
Yeah, pull a little bit of hometown favorite there. Would be the hometown favorite, really, because I mean it's George's sandbox, and we all just play with it.
That's very true. And boy, what a great job he does. GSRC has a lot of great series that we cover here that are well organized, and Brian, you're part of two of them. This Lionheart series, and of course the majors is something else as well, run by Mike Willett.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of series on track, a lot of things going on here in the GSRC universe, and it's really neat to see a lot of the bleed over. You know,
Yep.
Guys that were in the major series are now over here, like Richie Hearn. He got his start on the major series, and then he's on GSRC, and then now he'll be running the Lotus 79 here, starting out at the next race. So it's just a big happy universe here, and I tell you what, here we go again, Soup.
All right, we're going to come around. We will have 19 to go when they cross the line. Let's hope we finish under green. Give me the funk. Gotta have that funk. It's Ryan Otis leading them down into the first corner. And he begins to pull away. Saunders, Nathan Lewis behind him. Ken Hacker, who's had a great run in fourth, running on your top five. Series organizer George Anzaldo. Into corner number 3. Saunders, Lewis.
Otis
Here
got
he
that
comes.
big run. He got that big jump, and here comes Saunders side by side at the line. You got Nathan Lewis poking his nose up there, trying to sniff out that top lane with the 20 degrees of banking that I was talking about in the pre-race. You get a little bit more cushion up there.
Ryan took a weaving racing line trying to slow down Saunders if he could. He lost the lead on the front straight. He gets it back on the back straight. On the top side, that's Nathan Lewis. Who's going to lead this time across the line? It looks like it's going to be the car that was out of turn 4 first. That was Otis.
Otis took the very bottom of the track away from Saunders, forcing him up to the high side. So now you're going to see that 13 machine really get to work on the top side.
Those 3 cars very close up in front. George Anzaldo with about 3 car lengths back to 4th position. keep an eye on this is who is leading at the line. And once again, it was the car who had the inside line. That was Otis had the advantage.
Keep paying attention to that, Jack. That inside line is getting down to crunch time where you might not see Otis come up off that bottom at all. And now you're looking basically back from the roll bar of Saunders looking down at Otis going, how can I get down there? How can I get that maneuver away? But then also meanwhile, Nathan Lewis, George Anzaldo, Ken Hacker, and Fidian Ducana. He's sniffing around up in the back half of the top 5.
Ryan Otis Garden the inside, Alexander Garden the outside like a park ranger. There is nowhere for Nathan Lewis to put his car unless he wants to make it 3 wide. George Anzaldo in the similar situation, but all this fun that these guys are having up front, let's Fidian Ducana into the mix and bring it in as well, Ken Hacker.
Yeah, I mean, all these guys sniffing around up here, all these battles, it's just making this pack. It started out at 3 cars, then it got to 4, and now it's at 6. And if you just got to start looking back, that's the back half of the top 10 is starting to get a run forward.
Oh boy, I'm telling you, one of these guys is going to try to make it 3 wide, whether they try to put the toothpaste in the jar or go around the top side. And I believe here it is, Anzaldo's going to do it. He's going high. Will he have the momentum? They go 3 wide into corner number 1. It's time to go racing with 13 laps to go. Anzaldo loses some steam up there, but it's a good run out of 2. Again, he has a lot of momentum. There's room down the middle, George, if you want it. I'll take it.
George Anzaldo. George Anzaldo, we might as well call him the postman because he just licked the stamp and sent it down the middle. Anzaldo to the outside. Oh, and here comes Saunders. Saunders said, hey, you know what? That worked out. I'm going to try it my way.
Saunders does it as well. Taking notes as Nathan Lewis says, okay, I see how it's done. Saunders out in front. They're coming from both sides for you.
Oh, and there goes Otis sneaking a line to the bottom, keeping that white line very close to the left side of that machine. Saunders on top, Otis on bottom, and here comes Anzaldo back up on top as well. And Lewis has nowhere to go. He's kind of stuck in the middle.
They race in diamond formation through 1 and 2 down the back straight.
You got Fidian Ducana as well, sniffing around in the back half of the top 5.
11 to go. Oh my goodness. That's Otis who keeps it defending that inside line. Stuck his nose in there. Saunders able to fight him off. He's going to get the inside line. Saunders leads that lap. Again, Lewis cannot find anywhere to put his automobile. And there's more coming, like Brian said. Paul Jenkins in 7th. Fidian Ducana. Ken Hacker. 3 wide up front. They come around as they're looking to go 4 wide this time. They're thinking about it. They are 4 wide.
I wouldn't try going 4 wide down the front stretch there at Homestead. Goodness, but they all thought about it, but they made it out the other side.
Lewis finally has a bit of a room. Boy, he's pinned in there, though. Anzaldo play a chess saying there is no room on the top side for you, Nathan. Nathan stuck down there looking for somewhere to go up in front. This time around, it's going to be Saunders leading with Otis underneath. Momentum from Anzaldo. Ducana back there, nowhere for him to go. Whose car is fastest? I don't know. This may be a case of not whose car is fastest, is whose car is widest.
These guys are going to have you watching both the mirrors, the gas, the throttle, you're managing so many things when you're in this spot right now. You know, Otis and Saunders side by side for the last several laps. I'm wondering if someone like Nathan Lewis or Anzaldo or Fidian, if they're just kind of waiting just a little bit, trying to time that final run to where the point that they can make it and then no one can pass them back.
Things are so aggressive that Alex Saunders cannot afford to race the high line. He has to race the middle line to protect getting somebody coming through the middle. And they are so close together. And now, as we look back there, Sage Karam has worked his way up to 5th.
Where did he come from?
He loses momentum now. Ken Hacker on the top side. Those guys battle to try to get into the mix. Otis is loose.
Contact. Is he going to keep it below?
He comes out. We have no
caution.
Car's out.
5 laps to go. Was that the point of no return?
Alex Saunders got to the line first. He will be credited with being the leader. Will we go green again is the question.
That may have been it. Pace car is just now rolling, and they're going to take 5 laps to go, and then bring it down to 4 laps to go. Get all caught up. It might be a 1-lap shootout, or that's it.
We ride on board with Saunders. Well, my mom always said you can only dance the tango so long in the china shop before you break some porcelain. It stayed on the shelves for quite a long time. But honestly, it was kind of watching a drunken sailor chasing a balloon near a cliff. It was fun to watch, but you knew it wasn't going to end well. And Ryan Otis takes the dive.
Oh, man. They're going to have to get pretty much 2 to go this time.
Well, our pace car driver is the beautiful Medina Mendez out of Long Beach, California, so she's doing her best to get it done. She's not very good at getting the car down pit lane, but she is good at getting them loaded up out there. They're all behind her now. They come across. This will be... Do the lights have to come off right here?
It would have to come off next time by. They'd have to be 2 to go right now.
Well, they're behind her. We're going to get this in.
No. Saunders leading it. Lewis in second. Anzaldo third. Hacker fourth. And Sage Karam in fifth. I mean, I'm thinking if we get 1 lap at it, your winner's not coming from fifth. I really think it's going to settle out between Saunders, Lewis, or Anzaldo. And chances are they might end up 3 wide going through the corner anyway.
And do I know my rules correctly on this one? If we do get the white flag, we don't have to worry about a yellow, right? It'll
Once
finish
the
under
leader
green.
takes
Okay.
the white flag, that's it.
Woohoo! Well,
Nobody
pitted. All the eyes of the two-dimensional fans right now are on the pace car, right on the top of the pace car, hoping that those lights go off as they cross the start-finish line. What kind of pace car is that, Brian?
The Ford Mustang. Lights are on. That is it.
Oh, that's too bad, as you can hear the two-dimensional sigh from all the crowd who was hoping to see a shootout. Assuming that Alex Saunders doesn't have an internet connection problem or run out of fuel, he's looking to win the opening round here, season number 3 of the Lionheart in a retro series. It was exciting. Congratulations to all the drivers for putting on a good show.
It was an exciting one, that's for sure, here tonight.
If you like more of this, we'll be back in a week. You won't want to miss that one for a little road racing as we go to the Glen. But right now, it's the man who missed the championship by a single point. Well, he's going to put his stamp on this series to start off with by winning the opening round. The Sam Maxwell Customs Miami 200 is going to go to Alex Saunders. The dark horse, Nathan Lewis, gets second. George Anzaldo gets third. And we still have one more lap. I just practiced that. Get that one out of the way.
Exactly. You got the easy one out.
Watch me be way more excited next time around. 19 drivers on the lead lap. Is there anything else I need to talk about? Then we talked about all of our sponsors. know what I can talk about quickly here before we go to break is being on the iRacing Esports Network. You know, and if you're not an iRacing member yet, you still have time to join the iRacing community and compete online against thousands of players in the world's most realistic racing simulation. The best of the best in the iRacing World Championship, as well as many top private leagues like the one you're watching right now, are showcased right here on the iRacing Esports Network. GSRC is proud to be part of the IESN stable of broadcasters. And now, after the dress rehearsal, we'll try it one more time because someone may be recording this and they want to save it for posterity, so I'll get it right. Coming out of corner number 4 behind Medina Mendez and the pace car, the winner of the opening round of the Lionheart IndyCar Series, the Sam Maxwell Customs Miami 200, goes to Alex Saunders. And as Alex takes his victory lap, GSRC is going to take a victory pit stop. We'll be back to run down the entire finishing order, talk to some of the drivers before we put a lock on the gate. Back in a few. Welcome back to the Sam Maxwell Customs Miami 200 and the Plasma Tracks Victory Lane post-race show. Hey, now pay attention. If you are like me, tomorrow is the Ides of March, and I always have trouble finding a good Ides of March present for the loved ones that I have around me. I've got the place for you to go. You want to go to plasma-tracks.com. Not only they produce original racetrack wall art, motorsports trophies, home decor, and motorsports fabrications are also available. Now, if you order now, you're not going to get it by tomorrow, but you can show them a picture of what it looks like, because I'm telling you, the only way to fully appreciate what it's like is to go there and take a look. But I'm warning you, if you do, next thing you know, you'll be trying to explain to your spouse why you need a Plasma Tracks wall art hanging in your home. See it all at plasma-tracks.com. Use promo code LRS2019 to get 25% off your order. Now here is 100% of the finishing order here for the race you just saw, the Sam Maxwell's Customs to Miami 200. Alexander, boy, he would have had to really fight for it if not for the yellow flag came out. He gets the win. Nathan Lewis tries. He might stuck up there and get second. George Anzaldo, Ken Hacker, and Sage Karam round out your top 5. The back half of your top 10, Finian DeCuna, Paul Jenkins. Boy, a quiet run from him inside the top 10 for most of the race. Joe Hazard, Chris Lanini, 14th to 10th for Dustin Wardlow. He rounds out your top 10. Brian?
In 11th, James Paulson. Ryan Otis, after that long spin off of turn 4, settles into the 12th spot. Darren Ganji in 13th. Eric Block 14th, with 15th going to Travis Jägerliner. Mitchell Muller in 16th, with Tyson Landis in 17th. 18th went to Cody Eldred. Robert Bruin in the 19th position. And first car, one lap down, Taft Baldwin.
Hidden blackjack was Mark Cohn. He try as he might, just didn't work out for him. The yellow flags didn't fall right. Justin Kirby was next to him. Eric Mickey in the 23rd position. 24th to JP Winchetti. And then in the quarter century mark, George Sandman. 26 goes to Dylan McKenna ahead of David Altman and Mike Rigney. 29th and 30th, Ryan Corns and David Clymer.
Chad Dalton, 31st, 32nd to Scott Holmes. Dean Mardi Gras Mall, unfortunately, after a very rough night down there on Bourbon Street in 33rd, 34th to Frank Bieser. Our own Stefan Schlocker there at 35th, 36th to Adam Young and Joshua Gaiman. Unfortunately, dead last, 37th after early contact with the wall.
All right, let's go ahead and talk to our race winner, and I can do that right now. It's Alex Saunders. Alex? Wow, you really had to work for it.
Yeah, that was something, man. The dynamic sky that iRacing put in really changes this race. It was amazing how different it was from the start to the end.
Well, let's talk about the end there. You had Ryan Otis hugging that bottom line. You were kind of forced to almost race the middle line as people would sneak in between you if you left too much space between you and the guy down low.
Yeah, it got really hectic there, and I mean, I just want to say, like, I hate it for Ryan that we came together at the end there, because we had a real good run going, and you know, it kind of you do the entire race and have something at the end, and it kills your finish. But yeah, I once I got stuck in the middle, I wasn't really sure how that was gonna work at all, and I was able to get back up front with it, and then I didn't really have a chance to do anything else because it was, you know, we were running 3 wide most of the time around. It almost turned into, you know, like Indy from last year.
Okay, you missed the championship by 1 point.
Thanks for the reminder, Sue. Jeez.
Blocker dedicates himself to the IndyCar series, but I don't think your road got any easier because there's a lot of new names in here that look really tough. What do you think?
Yeah, there's a really stacked field. You know, looking at what some of these guys have done outside of iRacing or outside of Lionheart, I mean, you know, some real high I ratings. A lot of guys that are going to really put a challenge on road and oval. You know, it sucks that Adam's not around to try and compete with him again because we had such a good battle last year, but certainly not going to be any easier. Man, I'm hoping I can make enough of these races to, you know, to fight for it.
You got 2 drop races out of the 18, so let's hope you don't have to burn more than 2. Good luck to you the rest of the way. You can't do any better than start with a win.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Alex Saunders, your race winner, and I can say confidently your points leader as well. Brian?
Yeah, and George Anzaldo finished up there in the 3rd spot. George, man, you were getting up in there at the end of that thing.
Yeah, felt good, man. This is my first podium in the Retro Series. Man, it felt like a win. I mean, I definitely, I felt really racy tonight. I had a few opportunities, went side by side there with Alex, felt a taste of the lead for a little bit, but, you know, I had to kind of settle in there. And for a while, we were kind of watching the fuel. And after that final caution came out, it was hammer down. But, yeah, I just didn't have enough to get up there. But what a race. Yeah, that was awesome. Stoked.
That's got to be the promoter side of you as the league owner. That's got to put a smile on your face watching. I mean, the front pack, 3x3 and all these different battles. I mean, how do you got to balance that out, you know, from your end of things? You know, for promoter versus racer, like where do you kind of find yourself in some of those battles?
Well, you know, when it's race night, I definitely, you know, put the virtual helmet on and, you know, the driver part of me takes over, and I have a great team behind me who's handling race control and taking care of those things. for us so that we can enjoy ourselves here on track. So yeah, come race night, it's all about the racing. I'm very lucky in that regard that we have a great team.
Yeah, I mean, you're sitting there, you got the sharp new colors and the sharp new scheme, and a great way to start it out on the season there in third. And so you can back that right up next week at Watkins Glen, right? You'll be right up there with Saunders and Otis and all those guys.
Okay, now we're talking some kind of pipe dream here. Yeah, I mean, I'll be the first to admit I feel that I'm very consistent on the road, but I certainly don't have the raw speed that these guys do. But we'll definitely be working at it hard. We'll see where we end up in Watkins, but yeah, we'll certainly be prepared.
All right, George, we'll let you out on that one.
Wait a minute, I got one question.
Apparently not.
Well, I'll get real quick, George. Before that last yellow flag, when you made the pit stop with about 50 to go, did you have enough fuel to get to the end, or was it going to be close?
No, I think it was going to be close. We showed ourselves with the window being somewhere between 87 and 92, and at that point, Ryan and I, we just kind of settled in. We felt that if things continued, if it stayed green, that maybe Alex would have had an issue and probably ran out. And at that point, we believe he was slowing down somewhat, and that's why you saw the pack catch us.
Got it.
And once the yellow and then the second one, we were good to go.
Okay.
Real quick, definitely definitely like to thank our sponsors, especially Butt Kicker as a new title sponsor, and Sam Maxwell coming in late right before the season starts. So we're very happy to have them. Sim Experience, minus 273 Plasma Tracks, and the whole gang of sponsors that have jumped on board for Lionheart in 2019. So just a big shout out to them and all the viewers that are tuning in. And it's been rumored the roster of the Retro Series is quite strong, so watch out. We may have a good show in comparison to the IndyCar, but I think as a whole, this league is going to put on a great show for 2019. So thanks again, guys.
I don't think there's any shortage of talent in either one of those series. Good job, George. Look forward to watching him. He picks up the third place here today. He's got to be happy with that one. We're going to wrap up here with one more driver. We're going to talk to the watchman, Mark Cohn, who I thought had a chance to seal this one. Mark, you got a copy?
Loud and clear.
I thought you might have been able to sneak a win there until that final yellow came out and everyone could go the distance.
Man, I probably should have pit with everyone, but I just had to try. But it just felt so good to get that number 39 out in front for a bit there. I was hoping I could be competitive, but I think this is the absolute best race on an oval I've run in Lionheart Retro, and that really meant a lot.
Yeah, it's got to be a little discouraging. You were racing with the big guys the whole race. You ended up finishing a lap down in 21st, but you had a chance to steal one. I think it would have been tight on fuel for those guys if not for that yellow.
Yeah, no, I mean, once I stayed out, I figured I could chance it, hope and pray it doesn't go to caution, which obviously it did, or I could go to the back, not lose that lap, possibly gain some positions, but I wouldn't have had a chance. So I figured go big or go home.
It was fun to watch. Good luck to you the rest of the way.
Thank you so much. Really looking forward to it. And thanks to all of you at GSRC for putting on an amazing broadcast.
The watchman, Mark Cohn, finished off the lead lap, but nevertheless was in the hunt. That's going to do it for us, except for the thank yous. And I want to start by thanking our sponsors. Main one is the Butt Kicker. Their products add instant immersion to any game. Unlike a subwoofer that moves air and loses accuracy and force, Butt Kicker products move actual mass, producing a haptic immersion that's powerful and accurate. Butt Kicker products add that instant driver-to-car connection, bringing more realism and immersion to your session. See all the family of Butt Kicker products at thebuttkicker.com. Another promo code for you guys, Lion25, to get 25% off your order. And I got one more of these to read. Sim Experience, the makers of the AccuForce Pro V2 Complete, the premier professional racing simulation steering system. The key to the AccuForce Pro's incredible realism is the groundbreaking direct drive motor control system, providing a driving experience that, when combined with today's best racing simulations, is as close as you can get to driving the real thing. For more information on the entire Sim Experience ecosystem, including the SimVive software, the 3DOF Stage Series Motion, and GS-5 G4 Seat, Visit simexperience.com. Brian.
And of course, to contact any of the other sponsors that you see on the screen right now, right now, dead serious, right now, go to LionheartRacingSeries.com, click on the link for the 2019 sponsors, read or scroll to the bottom where you can kind of click on the company logo and kind of sort around there. A lot of them have promo codes. Everything's out there, and everything is really good products. So if you're ever on the fence about anything that we've got some really, really great partners here in the Lionheart IndyCar Series.
Honestly, if the commentator screws up the plug during the race, you can just go there and probably get more information than you're going to hear from one of us. On the screen now are just some of the company's equipment or software that made this broadcast possible. The iconic original music that lets your ears alert your eyes, hey, you're watching a GSRC production, comes courtesy of Eric Eckelman, Jude and Laurent. See the screen to how to contact each of them.
But hey, guess what? The Lionheart IndyCar Series, we return next week, Thursday, March 21st, for the Sim Experience Grand Prix at the Glen. Going to be a great show with Jason Galvin and I back in the booth. Global Sim Racing Channel and IESN will be there to bring you all the action. The next broadcast that you're going to see on the IESN is the West End Mazda Australian Online Supercar.
Are you kidding me?
I'm reading it right here. Online Supercar Championship from Oran Park. SimSpeed's coverage begins at Friday, March 15th at a crisp 6:45 a.m. Eastern.
That's the marketing guys have to get together. That's the very popular WEMAOSC. If you want to do that one, that helps you out, or the WeMosque, I guess, if you want to do that. Sliding across your screen now are just some of the upcoming broadcasts, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. If you'd like more information about GSRC, including a complete list of future broadcasts, you can find it at GlobalSimRacingChannel.com. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel. And while you're here, if you haven't done so yet, go over to our YouTube page, which you're not at, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Finally, on behalf of the men whose voices you just heard, that would be Brian Yosick, and it would be Amjad Yaman as our director, and of course was Chris Phoebe was our pit reporter. Dougie Beard does the cameras. I'd like to thank all of you for watching as Alex Saunders gets the win here in the Sam Maxwell Customs Miami 200. With that said, we're off to have fun. Storm of the Castle. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.